What's up, guys? We got a good one for you here. We got Kim Clavel, NABF champion, boxing champion. I'm the bee's knees to catch pajamas. That's Kim Clavel. Let's go! So we're here with Kim. We're going to talk a little bit about boxing. It's some crazy stuff going on right now in the boxing landscape. We have Kim here. She's a Quebecois, proud Quebecer, proud. Now you're a Montrealer. Now you told me you just moved from.
Yes, I moved in Montreal 3 years ago.
Yeah.
So I'm close to the gym, 5-minute walking, and I can train every day.
Can train when you want, close,
yes,
no traffic.
Exactly. Yes, no traffic, and I win a lot of times in my schedule.
For sure, it's hard as an athlete because now you're professional. Obviously, you had a long, extensive amateur career.
Yeah.
Now you're professional, so it's tough as an athlete because obviously, when you become professional, there's a lot of things that have to come together.
Yes.
You're really known for being a nurse as well as a fighter.
Mm-hmm.
And you were living far from Montreal, quite outside the city. You were
Yes.
living in Joliette, which is a town.
1 hour from Montreal.
Yeah, exactly.
And then I was used to work as a nurse and train and doing all this stuff in the same time. But I decided to take a sabbatical years. So now I'm 100% into boxing. I'm focusing in my boxing career because big fight coming soon.
Big fight coming soon.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll get to that. We have a lot to talk about. You're a big friend of the show, a big friend of ours. Pascal and I, we really, really follow along your career. We're proud of you. We love to see, especially Quebecers doing so well. And, we need that. We need, especially women fighters. It's awesome how we had Valérie Letourneau on, Corinne Laframboise. We've had some Quebecois fighters on, and it's interesting to see the parallel of the sport, women's sport, going with the times and what's happening now, and we need this. We really do need this. So let's start off. How did you get into boxing? You talked to Pascal. He's a Taekwondo practitioner. You also started with Taekwondo. How did you start boxing? What was it like before? What was it like in Joliette growing up?
I started with Taekwondo. I did baseball, basketball, cross country, and I was tired of team sport because I was tired to see the people in the backyard just doing nothing, and me, I'm born to win. I play to win. So I just walk into boxing to train, just to try, and I fell in love with that. I felt something inside, and it's my longest relationship. It's boxing. And I remember the coach in Joliette. He was like 6'4", and
was a big guy.
Big guy. And I look at him after the first training, and I said, I want to be a champion. I want to train. I was 15, and he said, okay, girl, kid, we will start to train, and we will see.
Easy, take your time.
Take it easy. And now here I am.
That's awesome. Yeah. So, at what point did you sort of leave that gym? I guess it was what gym was it called in Joliette?
Michel Morin.
Michel
that was
Morin.
the name of the coach.
So, at what point did you get good enough, or how does it work? At what point did you start training with the national team? Because right now you're with Saint-Claude Robillard, which is one of the premier boxing spots in Canada. They produce a lot of the national team people. You were on the amateur circuit. At what point did you change over to the?
I start with Michel Morin, and I know. He did a lot for me. I had a strong base. I don't know how to say. A strong base.
Yeah, strong base. Yeah.
Base with him.
Yeah.
And then I start training camp in Montreal just before a competition or tournament, and I saw new things. And I saw that was a really different than Joliette. So I talked with Danielle Bouchard, Stéphane Larouche, Ariane Fortin. You know, she's an Olympian. She's a 2-time world champion in
And you do
amateur.
a lot of work with her.
Yes,
she coached,
and I lived with her like 2 years.
Oh, okay.
And I decided to move in Montreal because I want to learn more. And Michel, that was okay for him because he wanted me to grow and to learn new things. So I was in the national team for 7 years, training with Danielle Bouchard at the Saint-Claude Robillard and Stéphane Larouche.
Right.
And I did 85 fights.
85 fight as an amateur. So
As
at this
an
point,
amateur.
you're an amateur. And I know, really, we don't want to put you on the spot here. I feel kind of bad. But I know you personally, it was a really tough decision for you. I know you really want to be world champion and you want to be a professional. I know that was your goal.
Yes.
But I also know it was a really, really hard decision for you to leave the amateur circuit because we always spoke. I was all myself. I tried really hard actually 4 times if you include my Italy time when I went to Italy. But I also want to be an Olympian, so I know that's something you really wanted. So what was that like, making the transition, and how did you talk about your coaches? What came up? What was the conversation like? Because that's super interesting to me. I know it's hard for you to talk about. I hope you can explain a little bit what that's like, because I know I mean, look, you're a champion now. It's amazing. We're proud of you. But the truth is, with 85 fights.
Yes, but everyone know that the biggest stage in amateur is the Olympic.
Amateur, exactly.
And that was not for me, because it's sad. Woman was into the Olympic in boxing only in 2012. So, and only 3 categories, weight categories.
Oh my gosh, only 3.
Only 3.
Still now?
And now it's 5.
Now it's 5.
And
Because in wrestling it was like 3, 4. Now it's 6.
And now it's only that was 3, and not mine.
Yeah.
So I'm 48 kilo. You know that I'm small like you.
No. Hey.
So I can make it at this moment, and I decided to go pro because I did everything I can
amateur
as an amateur, and world champion, tournament, everywhere in the world to represent Canada. So I decided to go pro.
Yeah, so it was really kind of a weight class issue.
Yes, exactly.
Do you think that had there been your weight class, would you have tried for the Olympics?
Of course.
You would have stayed,
and
next year?
If they had my category in 2012 and 2016, I would be qualified.
Qualified, because you had the international points.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And I was in top 5 in the world.
It's such a shame, and I know I experienced that too, because I was a 60 kilo, then they changed the weight classes and they made it 61, 57 or 65 in wrestling, and they removed 61 from the Olympics, so I had to go down to 57. It was kind of a nightmare for a lot of guys, and it's such a shame because obviously boxing, wrestling, we're talking about some of the oldest sports known to man. These are the original sports, and to take away those weight classes. But again, we are happy at least that boxing is in the Olympics. Do you train with some of the amateur athletes at Clavel NABF?
Yes, I train with Sabrina Aubin. Sarah Kali, she's my best friend on the national team. Camille Goyer, she's a champ at 64 kilogram. And so I have a lot of good partner to train, to spar.
Amateurs and pros.
Yes, and I have not a lot of pro, but I'm
but
used
pro
to,
men, you have.
Yes, I'm used to spar with guy.
Yeah.
We have little guys, so it's perfect to work with.
So what's that like, that dynamic? We spoke to Corinne, we spoke to Valerie about training with guys, because the reality is for women, and we always push women's sport here on the Boom Boom Show. We really want to see you guys excel. We want to see you guys get popular. I love that you've gained some popularity in the media. But what's that like, walking into a gym, and how does your coach say, look, today you're going to spar with guys, or do you say, hey, maybe I don't want to spar with this guy? Is it harder to spar with guys?
I want to spar with every guy at the gym. I love to go in boxing gym, like MMA gym, because everyone have a lot of respect. It's like everyone respect each other. You can be
nobody's trying to hurt anybody at that level.
No. So it's good. You know that I will spar with you, and you will not try to break my nose. We're there to help each other and to focus on something specific.
Yeah, specific. Yeah,
specific.
You
yes.
got it.
So I love to work with guys. They have a good style. They can make me work really hard.
Really hard. Yeah.
They are slick. They have a lot to me to improve.
They have a lot of tools that you can use.
Yes,
and
exactly.
They could use from.
They have a lot of respect.
For sure, I think if you when you get to a certain level, especially the level you're at, and when you get to that level where the ego is kind of put aside in the gym. I mean, everybody has an ego. We all want to win, but I think the reality is that you're not trying to beat a girl. You're not trying to beat someone out of your weight class. You're not. Really, you're just trying to learn from each other. That's kind of cool. So we saw recently you had a training camp down south. You were in Puerto Rico. What was that like?
That was really nice. A girl from 3-Star Gym came, Tina.
Yes, Tina.
And she went there, and we sparred together. So I had a lot of good sparring partner and to train on the beach and the sand.
That's always nice. Whose gym is that in Puerto Rico?
The gym on Rocky Martinez is one guy who fought against Vasil Lomachenko.
Oh, okay.
It's a nice gym in Dorado.
In Puerto Rico.
Yeah. So that was only focusing on boxing, and that was after Big Brother, the big show I did.
Yeah.
And I needed to find
in the zone a little bit.
my mes repères.
Yeah, you're kind of like a reset.
Yes,
Get back in there, get away from everybody.
Exactly.
And just,
yes.
yeah. So right now for your training camps, because you're having a great professional career, undefeated as a pro, do you do your training camps elsewhere, or are they mostly? This was just a one-time specific thing.
No, I start my training camp 2 weeks ago, for August 20. So I work like 2-3 times each day.
Yeah.
It's more general, but more we will
Get closer
from the fight. It's gonna be specific
work on
and
the
more
things,
when we will really know the opponent.
Mhm.
We will work on specific thing and choose the good sparring partner for
Mhm.
me that they will be similar. And
because so right now it's kind of you're amping up the amount of trainings you're doing. You're
Yes.
up to 3 times a day. That's great. That's incredible. It's a lot of work. So right now you mean general training. You're still just training. You're improving. You're working on your skills,
Yes.
but you haven't honed in on who you're fighting, who your opponent is. So you can match your sparring partners.
Yes,
So
exactly.
we don't know who your opponent is, or you think maybe you know, or
It's coming soon.
coming soon.
But I have an ID, but
have
in boxing,
Right.
we never know. And it's hard right now with the COVID and the santé publique and everything, the rules. So, but I hope it's going to be this girl because it's going to be a good fight.
Gonna be a good fight. And we were talking off air before how happy you are with Group Yvon Michel, which is one of the
Yes.
huge boxing promoters in Canada for a long time. You were talking about how they're really good with knowing who your competition is, knowing how to match you up, when to match you up. Really,
Yes.
They're really good with you about how you're in shape and everything. Are they really close with you? Is that really the relationship
I
you
talk
wanted?
often with Yvon. He's a nice guy. He's a smart guy.
Mhm.
He knows his shit.
And he knows boxing.
He knows
yeah,
boxing,
exactly. Yeah.
and he want to improve my career. We have the same goal.
yeah.
So we
Mhm.
work together. It's a teamwork, and how can I say it? Like
He's not using
he
you.
believe in woman boxing.
Right. Okay.
So
good. Yeah. yeah.
Marie-Ève Dicker,
Mhm.
she's a world champion. Me, Marie-Pierre Roule. So we train, and I will do the main event as a woman here in Montreal. So it is really nice.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
We wish the best for you. Dicar, she just fought Clarissa
Yeah.
Shields. Yeah. Were you part of that training camp? Did you see how she was?
I was in Big Brother this time, but I look at the fight in
How did you think she
YouTube.
did in the fight? I don't think she did too bad. I mean,
No, that was not too
Clarissa's
bad.
really good.
Yes, Clarissa, she's the number 1 pound for pound in
Yeah.
the woman. So that was a big fight.
you're
She
taking
tried.
that place soon.
Yeah.
You're gonna be the number one pound
She
for
tried.
pound.
She really
Yeah, she tried, yeah.
Marie-Ève, but it's different class.
Yeah. Are they the
Clarissa
same weight
is-
class?
she's
Because they fought at
something
152 or 154.
That was 154, I think.
And Marie-Ève's usually bigger, isn't she? Or
Clarissa is bigger.
Clarissa's
She's used
big.
to fight at 165, something like that.
because now Clarissa, we saw her in MMA. She was in
Yeah.
PFL. She almost actually lost.
She did good, but
She got
yes.
taken down and kind of exposed as a grappler. She had no
Yes.
grappling experience, but she was able to get the finish. Finally worked her
She
sprawl.
proved that she had character
Yeah.
and attitude.
For sure, she had heart. She had charisma. She didn't want to give up. She really wanted that win.
Yeah,
I
she
think
did
that
to win.
because when you're a champion, you know that you're not always going to win with technique. Sometimes it's going to take that.
Sometimes that you need to be ugly and to fight.
You have to fight ugly.
to forget about the
How
technique.
do you work on that? How does somebody build that? What if they, we have someone in the gym who's technically they have all the tools. I could think of someone right now. I'll tell you off air, a boxer who has all the tools, but I just think he doesn't have the heart. How do you coach someone like that to get that heart to be like, look, here's going to be a really bad situation, and your technique might. How do you coach someone like that?
I think you can coach heart.
Heart, yeah.
You are born with that or not. And I think in boxing or MMA and combat sport,
yeah.
you have to accept to get hurt.
Mm-hmm.
You have to accept to suffer. You have to accept to have blood sometime. And if you're scared about it, change of parts. 'Cause
Yeah.
you will live with that. And that's how you win.
Do you kind of embrace that? Is that something like Ayman was on here? Ayman Zahabi's in the UFC, and he said one thing he did. He read a book, and he started to accept the pain. And I am the pain. The pain will set me free. He had his way of self-talk.
Mhm.
Do you have a way that you embrace that pain? Like, what do you tell yourself? Because everybody's scared to go in a ring and fight.
Yes, of course.
What do you tell yourself?
I say, okay, I'm already hurt. So, okay.
You've been hurt.
Yes, I'm being hurt. So
Yeah.
I will continue. I remember one fight. I had a lot of blood in my face. I had a cut here.
Against the Romanian.
Yes.
Yeah, you're on
against the
record as saying she was the hardest hitter you've ever fought.
Yes, I had a cut in my eyebrow, my nose, and at the round 3 and round 5,
Right.
and I had 8 rounds to do. So I had a lot of blood in my face, and I was like, oh shit. But I felt like an animal. I don't was scared. I'm like, oh shit, this is really
it
nice.
pumped you up.
Yes, pumped me up. And I remember my coach and my cutman in the corner. They said, don't care about your cut. This is our job. Your job is to fight. So fight. So I bit in my mouthpiece and fight.
You bit down the mouthpiece and
Yes.
you went. Did you find it distracting? Was it like you said you felt like an animal, but was the actual cut bleeding into your eye? Was it difficult to see?
Yes, that was difficult because
Yeah.
you feel it, and that blind, you become like blind when you have blood in your eyes and that burn.
Yeah.
But I said, okay, I don't care. She's there. She want to fight me. I will fight her, and I will try to keep my hands up and go away.
Yeah.
And I win. I won.
Yeah, it's and again, it's remarkable to see that in sports and women's sports and men's sports, people that really overcoming all the adversity, and that's something that could relate to anybody. Is just a battle between two people. And then I want to talk to you because these are tough situations when you're boxing, and there's blood, there's the weight cut, there's so many
Yes,
issues that
right.
come into to boxing. We talked about having a good support system. I've talked about here in the past. What's your family life like? Like, is it difficult for your parents to watch their a nice daughter here who, again, you're a nurse, you've got so many good things going for you.
Yes.
I know myself, after my wrestling career, my parents were like, okay, we could finally relax. He's not going to get hurt anymore. And now I went into MMA. It's like, why? You're an educated guy. But so do you have are your parents supportive? Is it,
Yes,
what's it like? What's
my
the family
parents
life?
are really supportive. My mother, she's kind of a really competitive girl in everything. So she liked that, and I hear her when I fight. But my
Wow.
father, when you are a father, your little girl want to fight, it's something else to accept. And I remember the first time I fought, he said, oh, I can't come to your fight. I will look at home. And he said, I will take 1 beer or 2 beer and
Before.
just relax. And then he saw that I improved. The fight went good, so now he is able to.
He's a little bit. He's okay with it.
He's
yeah.
okay with that.
GSP George St. Pierre kind of gave me the same anecdote that his parents had a difficult time,
Yeah.
especially when he was fighting on the reserve in Kanawaki. But now they're able to. I think everybody
Yes.
kind of relaxes and they know the skill level.
My grandmother can't.
Oh,
No, she can't come. She's too
you
stressed.
still have
but
a grandmother. That's
yes,
amazing.
I have my
yeah.
grandmother, and I remember she always do scrapbooking, and when I'm in the
Newspaper,
journal,
something.
she cut that and do a little scrapbooking for
So she's
me.
not watching you fight, but she's on the sidelines putting
Yes.
together your
Yes,
all your
exactly.
your newspaper articles, and so when you come home, you have something nice to look at. That's very nice. So at this point, do you get to see your family a lot? You said they're what, an hour away,
Yes.
I guess.
Yesterday I was with my grandmother.
Okay, nice.
For the first
yeah.
time for a long time, because I was 3 months in Big Brother, 2 months in San Juan, Puerto Rico. So the restaurant are open. So I bring her to
that's nice, yeah.
breakfast. So yes, I can see them in the weekend. But I know my father, he miss me. Like he called me every day to know how I'm doing, and he said. He told me the same thing every day. How are you? We talk about the temperature. We talk about the news.
Just to
in the
check
paper.
in.
Yes, he check, like a 5-minute check every day.
That's nice. Yeah. So again, there's so much to get to. Kim, you've been doing so much, especially in the last year, 2 years. We talked a bit about your personal life. So you're a nurse.
Yes.
You won a huge ESPN award, which not a Canadian award. You won it on the international stage.
Yes.
The ESPN is probably one of the biggest sports awards, and it's kind of like, it's so cool, but it's also unfortunate because of COVID. You weren't able to go on the big stage. I dream of winning an ESPN award and being on the big stage and accepting it. You had to take it through Zoom. That's still kind of cool. Talk to us about that experience. You're a nurse. All of a sudden you get a call. How does that happen? And how did you, a girl from a small town in Quebec, get an ESPN award?
Yes, I was supposed to fight on March before the pandemic
Right.
start, and then everything was canceled.
Yeah.
So I decided to go back to work as a nurse in the elderly center to help old people. And
But at this time, you had taken your sabbatical off
yes,
nursing?
I was in a sabbatical.
So you literally went back to
yes,
help out,
I went
do
back
what you can.
to help.
Wow.
And I didn't do that to have a trophy or anything, but I don't know how my story came to USA, a
Right.
French girl, Canadian from Quebec. I don't know how, but the ESPN came in Montreal. They do a topo on the news. Ali Berry was there. That was
Wow.
really, really big. And I won the Pat Tillman Award. I was like, wow,
The
this
Pat
is
Tillman Award.
grandiose. It's big.
Yeah.
I was really proud, but I was shy at the same time because I'm like, I'm not doing that for
notoriety.
For
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
So I
yeah,
want to
yeah.
share it with every worker, healthy worker.
Yeah.
So it's not only for me, it's for everyone.
Yeah, that was super interesting. So for those of you who didn't really follow, last year you went back to work during the pandemic. You like you said, you went back to help an elderly center for, there was COVID going on, and you're putting yourself at huge risk.
Yeah.
ESPN gets to hold this information. Halle Berry, everybody gets to hold this information. Next thing you know, you're getting an ESPY, and you won that award. That's a huge thing. So again, with that becomes a lot of notoriety for you. But you said you weren't doing it for that.
No.
You're doing it for just to help people.
Yes, and nothing happened. Everything happened for a reason in life, so I did it. And after that, I had the opportunity to fight in Las Vegas in MGM Grand on a top rank card. So that was really big. That improved my fan base, my réseaux sociaux and everything. So
your social
that
media,
helped my social media. And you know that boxing is business.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a sport, but it's business. You have to sell ticket, and it's probably helped
Yeah.
me.
So let's talk a bit about that. That's so nice now because I see you a lot like GSP because you're someone, you've got the accent, you're very but you're very charming, you're from Quebec. People love that. I mean, you love to hear that, someone who's really trying to put himself out there. We talk a lot on the show here about the guys who are kind of teetering that line of social media with their professional sport. How do you feel about that? Like, what's it like for you right now handling your big social media presence with training 3 times a day? What's that like right now?
Honestly, I had to ask for help. So now I have a woman who worked for me that helped me with my social media.
That's great.
That
yeah.
helped me with my contract because I have something with, example, TVA Sport, RDS, a podcast, stuff like that. So she worked on that. So me, I only have to focus in my training, in boxing, and I don't want to be a businesswoman.
Yeah.
So she do the job.
Yeah.
Me, my job is to box and to perform and to that.
So you see, that's why I just want to remind producer Pascal here on the show that we were kind of debating last time about Jake Paul, Logan Paul, and people that are doing these novelty fights, Anacine Gibb and Taylor Holder, all these guys. And I was trying to explain to Pascal, I'm sure that, for the athletes, they have to train. That's their number one focus. And they have someone else doing the social media. Now with Jake Paul, Logan Paul, they've always done their social media. And now they have to train. So it's kind of, it's just, maybe they're having someone help them with their training where you might need someone helping you with social media.
But I think Jake Paul and Logan Paul, yes, they are good athletes, but they are influencers.
No, primarily they're influencers. There's no question about it.
They are
yes,
influencer, and after they are athlete. But it work.
I think it's good. I think it's good for the sport. It's like social media is good for notoriety. What do you think about that? Or would you rather just, I just want to train. I don't care.
It's funny because when I was in Puerto Rico, I trained with them a little bit.
Yeah, you saw Logan Paul and you were at his fight. You were at
I was at his fight. And
in Florida.
We saw a lot of young people, and I said, do you know Floyd Mayweather? No. Do you know Bernard Hopkins? No. Do you know Vasil Lomachenko? No. Do you know Logan Paul? Yes. Young people know them, but they don't know the real one. So I'm real boxer, but it works. It's a new era. I think it's
bringing eyes. Well, I said on one podcast, I said anything that's going to bring eyes to combat sport is good. It's going to make you more money.
But people don't have to forget that it's not a play. You can get hurt.
Oh yeah,
for real
sure.
in boxing, and you risk your life. So
Bryce Hall in his fight against McBride, Bryce Hall was bleeding. That's real blood. McBroom, Austin
but I
McBroom.
think they know. They knew that before the fight, so they know that they can have the consequence. So
don't laugh, Pascal. We're a fight show primarily. We're learning about these YouTuber. Merlin's trying to keep me update with all the popular culture guys. That's why we hired Merlin here, because we really want to be on top of all that.
Mm-hmm.
The influencer stuff is a little bit out of my realm. I'm trying to get into it, but it's hard to follow all these influencers and everything. So what was it like? I mean, look, we would love to talk to you about pure boxing, but let's just ask you a quick question. What's it like? You were saying off air, what are Jake Paul and Logan Paul can they actually box? What are they like training with?
Logan Paul can box. He surprised me when he sparred. He know how to throw punches. He is an athlete. He have a good body, a healthy lifestyle. He trained for real. He have a good attitude in the ring, and he's funny guy. Jake Paul, he's strong. I know he's strong.
Physically strong.
Physically really, really strong. But he have a bad attitude, and I think
but maybe that's
a show.
Yeah, that's
it's only a show.
Yeah.
And
so was he carrying that kind of attitude into the gym?
Yes.
Oh.
What?
That's interesting. Like he was acting like a bad, like that bad attitude
yes.
in the gym, on the beach, anywhere.
Yes, everywhere.
Wow.
Jake Paul, don't say hi
Wow.
to anyone. He was like just looking at people.
Hey, well, maybe he really sold that character.
Yes,
you know?
I think he is like that right now.
It's funny. It just reminds me. I don't know why, but I was watching The Undertaker, who was on Joe Rogan, watching the podcast, and The Undertaker said he didn't want to do interviews for 20 years or 30 years while he was The Undertaker because he never wanted to break character.
Wow.
And I mean, that's crazy, right? Like,
Yes.
I mean, you know, I don't know. I think just interesting. Maybe, again, you're doing great what you're doing. We're not asking you to break character. And we talk about some more popular culture stuff. You were on the Big Brother show, Big Brother Canada.
Yes, Big Brother Quebec, Canada, Quebec.
It wasn't Canada one?
That was Quebec.
Quebec, yeah.
The first one, the first Big Brother
Ever?
Quebec. Yes, ever.
Okay. So what was that experience like? So you were in a house, you know, we saw videos of you temporarily you're training, like they put a bag for you. What was that like?
Yes, I tried to still train, but it's something really hard. Psychology.
Oh yeah, reality shows, yeah.
You're in the house for 92 days because
was that long?
Yes, 3 months because I did the final. And
you almost won. You almost won.
Yes, no phone, no television, no nothing. You can't.
No sparring.
No sparring. You can't ride. You can't have pepper. It's hard.
Oh my gosh.
You have to be strong, and you become like aggressive, irritated because you have to share a house with 15 people, 2 bathrooms. We sleep all together in the same room, so.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Really
That's
hard,
why I need to go to Puerto Rico after that because I needed to focus on me because I forget me in that show.
So how did you train?
At the gym there, and before I went there, my physical coach just sent me a training that I have to follow. I have a plan. And they accept me to bring my plan. So I did like musculation. I have a bag. So I did a lot of bag, old school bag. And
shadow boxing, I guess.
Yeah, shadow boxing. And when I come back, Stéphane Larouche said, wow, like you hit harder. Because you train like, you remember old school, like Mike Tyson, Muhammad Ali, they didn't have like conditional coach or stuff like that. That was bag, heavy bag.
Running and that's it.
Yes, running and bag. And this is how I did. And I run like 21 kilometers, 22 kilometers. I lose myself in training. That was my only way to escape. So,
what an experience, watching on Big Brother Quebec. I mean, that was kind of nice. Was anybody else training with you? Like, did any of the other housemates like, hey, I want to get in shape too? Or
yes, François Lambert is a big businessman here in Quebec with maple syrup and stuff like that. And he trained, and we challenge each other. So now we have to run 20 kilometers. He said,
my God.
Yes, we have to do this and that. And so we did every day. And Jean-Thomas Jobin, it's a humorist here from Quebec.
Yeah, a comedian,
Yes, and I said, do you want to train in boxing? And that was the funniest thing I ever saw. He liked like an octopus, and he was in pink legging with pink t-shirt, and we just laugh.
Yeah.
And
at least that was nice.
I trained Richardson Zephyr 2 times a week into boxing. We did pad, and it was really good.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you were kind of promoting the boxing lifestyle on the Big Brother house. That's nice. So right now, you're focusing on the fight. You're definitely fighting in Montreal on August 20th.
20, yes, at the Stade IGA here,
Mhm.
close to Parc Jarry.
Mhm.
Can't wait. I would be the main event for the first time of my life. It's
Wow.
like a dream, and I want to put women boxing on the map
Mhm.
here in Quebec. And
Yeah, I think, like you said, with Marie-Ève, I think with yourself, I think it's
Yes.
really coming to that, and I think that
we
when
are in a
people
good era.
a great
of-
era.
Yes, great
Yeah.
era with Clarissa Shield,
Mhm.
Katie Taylor, Michel Lamayer. It's a good girl that have a good background as amateur, so make a better fight
Mhm.
uh,
As pro.
as a pro. Yes.
And do you think, are you ever gonna go to MMA?
Maybe you can teach me how to to do it. I think I would be good.
I think you would be good too. I think, yeah. I don't doubt you would be good for a second.
But it's hard. No, I will focus on boxing right now.
So anybody you want to shout out? I mean, you said you're working with a lot of people. You're talking about your social media manager, Group Yvon Michel.
Yes.
Who else
I would
is
love
helping
to
you
shout
right
out
now?
to my sponsor, because without him, I would not be able to take a sabbatical
Wow.
year. Christin Chevrolet in Montreal. So I have a car.
Yeah, I always see you
and-
with every year you get new whips.
Yes,
we
I
always
have
see
new
Kim with the new
car.
whips.
Yes,
Oh,
new
so they're an
car.
actual sponsor. I thought
Yes.
maybe they were just helping you
No,
out or giving you a deal on a car.
No, it's since my first fight. He's
Where are they
there,
located?
In Sherbrooke,
Sherbrooke,
Montreal.
Sherbrooke East.
Christin Chevrolet, Buick, GMC. They have best car in town.
Let's get those cars. Well, guys, that was a really, really fun one for me, guys, knowing Kim personally and seeing her evolution, guys. We're going to post the interview up, like, comment, subscribe, do all that stuff. That's good for the channel. And, we'll try to get back to you. We'll try to reach out to her if you have any questions for her. And that's it, Kim.
Thank you for the invitation. That was nice.
Yeah, it was nice. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Pascal.
Peace.